Buyer Sales Pipeline is more than a drop-down menu in your CRM. It should provide you with a framework and a language for keeping you on track to make forecast and target. We're going to look at a compelling way to look at your sales pipeline so that it gives you the insights you need to be effective. Notice that we've displayed the sales pipeline as a workflow left to right. The headings are pretty universal, but you probably use slightly different labels. The visualized workflow approach means you can see your complete portfolio of prospects, deals, and opportunities, which in turn answers two questions. Have I enough going on? Are my opportunities in the right location so that I can meet my income goals on time? In other words, can I make an accurate forecast? The visual approach tells you the distance the buyer has to travel in order for the opportunity to turn into income. This is a powerful sales pipeline concept, and we call it distance from revenue measurement. Notice that it's the location of the buyer we're focused on. That means you need to manage what the buyer is actually doing, not what they're saying. For example, if the buyer is not scheduling time to move forward, that tells you where you stand in terms of income production, much more so than them telling you what you want to hear. Now that we have a framework for tracking buyer location and movement, we can put some rules and guidelines into each stage. They tell us why and when we should move a deal from one stage to the next, based on what the buyer is doing. In the first stage, the buyer is not engaging. You know them. They may even know about you, but they are not scheduling time with you. Once they do that, you can move to the next stage, which is usually an early qualification stage. It's here you figure out with the buyer if it makes sense for both parties to continue to engage. If you do decide to engage further, logically the opportunity and the buyer move into an information gathering stage. This equips you, the seller, to develop a proposal that will eventually make sense to the buyer or buyers. Notice that we're using the same four criteria to get the information and the evidence we need to build an opportunity that could be forecasted. Stakeholders. Are we working with the right people? Impact. Is our solution making sense? Finance. Is the money right? And finally, can we identify timelines within which the buyer might act? When you follow this process, you get to the critical point at verbal yes, where you should be able to bet your salary that the deal will close in the current cycle. If you cannot, you have not satisfied the criteria. Finally, when a deal stalls and stops moving, we call it a fallback, which I've placed back in the first stage. Here are two big takeaways. Make sure you read the workbook and get a deeper insight into this powerful sales pipeline approach.